Let's pray. So gracious God, we thank you that you are, are bringing people here, that you continue to guide us and lead us. Help us to listen to each other, to learn from each other, and continue to surround us with your mercy and grace. In your name, amen. Let's read Luke 9:1-4, and then verse 6. Anyone want to read that?
Then Jesus called the 12 together and gave them power and authority over all demons and to cure diseases. And he sent them out to proclaim the kingdom of God and to heal the sick. He said to them, "Take nothing for your journey, no staff, no bag, nor bread, nor money, not even an extra tunic. Whatever house you enter, stay there and leave from there." So they departed and went through the villages, bringing the good news and curing diseases everywhere. Pack nothing. Bring only your determination to serve and your willingness to be free. Good job.
So how many of you have gone on some type of a mission trip? A number of you. Okay. What was it like? What did you do? What was it like?
It was amazing. We went to Guatemala twice, my daughter and I. And we went to the Lake Atitlan region and worked with an organization there that's Guatemalan Impacto. And the first time we went, we did a lot. Oh my gosh, there were so many people on the trip that we had all these different work crews doing. I helped with Vacation Bible School for the younger kids. I worked with senior citizens, they call them abuelitos, and they do all these little fun things in the mornings. And there were people that built houses for people. The second time we had 2 doctors and 3 nurses on the group, and so we did more medical things and helped with that. I learned how to take blood pressure with an electric blood pressure thing. And it was beautiful. The people were just amazing. I got more out of it than I feel like I gave them. It was great.
Anyone else? Yes.
I went with our church, there was a group of about 12 of us. One time we went to Jamaica and then we went to Belize. And just like she said, I probably got more out of it than they did. If they were, low popular or poor population, and we did Vacation Bible School and then did some work around the churches. And yes, it was a blessing. Okay.
Anyone else? Michael?
Mission trips to Tecate, Mexico, to build houses with high school kids from here going down there. It's a great experience again. Everybody coming home feeling like, got more than kid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It gives you such an appreciation for how spoiled we are and how much we have, and we just take it for granted.
And I felt they were very happy
Yes.
in their lives.
Yeah.
They didn't seem deprived. I mean, we have all these material things up here, but they were happy doing what they were doing. It's appreciated.
I put an exclamation point by that. We would get done with the workday down in Tecate, and instead of like, like here, what happens in the evening? Everyone sits around, watches TV or plays on their video games or whatever. Down there, everyone from like 2 to 12 years old to 40 years old would go out and play soccer together in the field. So it's like the quality of life in a strange way was better.
Mhm.
Did you find them to be very sharing with you?
Oh, yeah.
Their
Very,
food, everything they would do.
I've always heard that.
very caring, very affectionate. Yeah.
Anyone else?
I was with a medical group in Ecuador. And the generosity, I mean, of sharing even food, basic necessity was amazing. And I was reading, don't take anything with you. We hiked in to villages. We took nothing with us. And to be fed by people who, I just remember the chicken feet and the soup, and that was the only meat part. That was so it's just like, but they were so generous. Um,
What was it like receiving from those who you considered poor?
Humbling.
Humbling?
I almost feel guilty. I mean, there's a guilt feeling of how much I have. And to take from those who have so little, but
Anyone else? What was it like to receive from those you considered poor? So what did you learn on those mission trips?
I learned how to say, rinse your mouth and spit in Spanish. I'm sorry. That was kind of funny because I didn't speak Spanish when I got there. So you learn enough to get through what you were doing. But I think I learned gratitude that I did that more in college age. And I think there was a sense of gratitude that I probably never really lost because I've seen the other side of.
Okay, a sense of gratitude. What else did you learn?
You don't have to have a lot to have a lot of joy.
Ah,
Well, loving, very loving people and, yeah, gratitude. It makes you don't need all these bells and whistles necessarily to be happy, yes.
so the theme is traveling unattached. Did you travel unattached? I mean, going up to the mountains, you didn't bring anything with you.
That was before cell phones anyway, but.
We brought things, but only things that Impacto had requested that we bring. So we felt like because they're on the ground, they're always there doing work. They know what, each group brings. So like, because like our second group was a more medical group, they asked us, so we brought fluoride with us to do fluoride treatments. We brought things, but we worked with their doctor. He actually gave like physicals, but we had things like Tylenol and things like, that they couldn't get. And our doctors worked with him, but he was in charge. So, we didn't try to come in and save everybody.
So what does it mean to travel unattached?
Without an itinerary.
Without an itinerary,
Mhm.
okay. What else might it mean?
Well, in this passage, it sounds like it means not to carry a lot of clothes and money and all these things with you, but to rely on,
To rely on those who you're visiting.
right?
You're to stay in the house. Wherever you
Yeah, there you
go,
go.
you're to stay there.
And to accept their hospitality, no matter what that is. Yeah.
I think it also might mean expectations, goals, plans,
Mhm. So,
because you don't know what the situation is yet.
Mhm.
mhm,
Be open.
Yeah, be open.
be
Mhm.
open to
Exactly.
whatever might happen. So in the last congregation I served, it was a fairly large congregation, and they sent groups to Haiti, Jamaica, El Salvador, Guatemala, all, and Uganda. At least those 5 countries. And I was in charge of those groups. There's a book called Toxic Charity that Nancy has written on the top of this page.
Mhm.
How many have read it?
I don't know if we read Toxic Charity. We read a book along those same lines, though, in preparation for the first mission trip that we went on, where we all did this whole book study about not going in as the white saviors and the real importance of paying attention to what the people there are telling us is needed and to build relationships as the primary thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can't, yeah, I'm not sure if it was that same book, but I know what, yeah,
Close.
yeah.
Yeah. I worked very hard. There was one situation before I came where somebody went, let's say to Haiti, I'm not sure where it was. And they stayed in a motel during the whole time.
What?
And I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. And I'm not sure what that was about even. I never did learn all the details of that situation. But leaving behind the expectations, the intentions, whatever goals that you might have had, expectations you might have had. Those kinds of things are really important to put aside before you go. And it's sometimes hard to do that because you have the emphasis of building homes. That's what you're gonna be doing.
Yeah, because you have to take stuff to, like we did Vacation Bible School, we had to bring things related to that, and then we knew they played soccer, so we brought a lot of soccer gear and things like that.
Mhm.
But, yeah,
Yeah, so, you know, at times, you end up having to bring stuff. And so did we, in many of those situations. One of those situations was really interesting, though. At the church that I was involved with, there was an AA group that met on Sunday mornings during Sunday school. And we brought that AA group down to Guatemala. And they led a retreat down there. And that was fun. There were 2 of us who were not AA people on that retreat. But we had to participate in everything they did. So we had to come up with our experiences of addiction, so to speak. And it was a fantastic experience. It really was. So that would be one kind of a situation where you go down knowing what you're getting into. Yeah. Let's look at, I think, yeah, page 42. That the last sentence of that basically first paragraph. Somebody want to read that? Do you have it? So partnership involves,
Oh. Partnership involves listening to where people say they see God at work and coming alongside them in the work they do.
was that your experience?
Mhm.
So for some it was. In what ways was that similar to listening to where people say they see God at work and coming alongside them? What?
I just underlined the first three words. For me, that was the crux of it. Partnership involves listening, like rather than speaking or bringing my agenda.
Yeah,
And it's ironic because I have my agenda for this little talk right now, but I did just listen. There are things about the passage in, is it Luke that we got it out at the very beginning? What was the gospel that we're using?
Luke.
Yeah, there are things about that passage that bug me, but I'm waiting for the right moment to get out. But in that particular place, I underline partnership involves listening,
Period.
period. Like, listen, set my agenda aside and listen.
Mhm.
In our Paris ministry, which it's a little bit different approach, of course, I mean, prison. But our motto is to listen, love, love.
Hmm. How do you do that in a prison? In what ways are you able to do that?
Well, first of all, we have to listen to the administration. We have to listen to the staff. And if we're truly going to love the inmates, we're going to listen to them. We bring a program in that there's a number of talks that they listen to, but then we encourage them to have discussions about those talks.
That's awesome.
And so all we do is encourage that and then step back and just listen.
Okay.
Can I ask Jim a question?
Mhm.
Jim, you go in there and whatever it is you do. Do the men follow up? That, not you guys, but the prisoners, do they
Yeah.
follow through? Do you give them materials? What's the next step for them?
They have monthly sharing prayer groups. That
Led by one of the Kairos people?
a handful of Kairos
Okay,
will go in every month. And then there's also a 2-day weekend. I think it's on the opposite quarters of the 2 weekends that we do. We've got 2 4-day weekends. We're having one in the end of this month and one in October. And then I think it's in December and June, I think, is a 2-day.
my understanding is that Clallam County Jail no longer has the Kairos program, or did they reinstate it?
We're not a jail ministry, we're a prison ministry.
Okay, okay.
So we've never been in,
So there are, I think there are voluntary chaplains that go into the,
there's a number of
yeah, okay,
ministries that are involved.
Yeah.
A number of different volunteer groups that
okay.
are involved.
I didn't know if Kairos was involved with that.
Hmm.
Okay.
So on page 45, the last paragraph starts with, and like those disciples. Somebody want to read that?
What page?
45.
45 starts with, and like those disciples.
I didn't see that on 45.
Right near the bottom.
Yeah, near the bottom.
Way at the bottom, the last paragraph,
Oh,
the last,
Getting the paragraph.
yeah.
Got
Somebody want to read it?
I can. And like those disciples, And like those disciples, we've been called to go at it unattached to our own agendas, unattached to our to-do lists and expected outcomes, unattached to all the plans we make that get in the way of us actually listening to God's people who are present in our midst. If we listen, we can hear God's people as they tell us that, really, a pool isn't what we need. Or as they advise that a school shouldn't be built in that area. Or as they tell us, don't bother painting the playground, but instead just come, pull up a seat, have some food. Let us tell you about how God is present here and about how you could come alongside us.
Hmm. Are your mission trips like that?
The ones I've been on have been.
They've been more listening.
Yes, because the Guatemalan, Impacto, the people that started that organization, there's Pastor Luis and then some of his family members and now some other people. They were very much the people in charge heading this up. I mean, we were under them, and so we had to listen to them, what was useful. And then a lot of our time was just spent talking to people and, you know, listening to them and finding out about their lives, and it was really great. Yeah.
So this isn't really a mission trip, but this is really what hits me when I read that. I have a good friend who's handicapped. And she's been my friend for 50 years. And I would go up there and think, okay, she's in a bad situation. She's, you know, I try to clean the house for her, do things for her, try to get her to move out. She can no longer get in and out of her house. And then, you know, over time, I realized she doesn't really want me to do anything. She wants me to sit with her and listen. And I think that's the hardest thing in the world when you see so many things that need fixing.
Mhm.
I could make this better,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but that's
Mhm.
not
What
what's
she
helpful.
needs.
Mhm.
No.
So how did you learn that?
Time,
Time.
beating my head against the wall. You know, like, okay, this is insanity, because this is not gonna work. If it's just my agenda, it's not gonna work.
Mhm. Hmm.
I mentioned there's a couple things about the verse that bother me. This ties in kind of what you're saying, that. So there's just tangentially, they're going out to share the gospel, right? They're going out to preach the good news. But Jesus hasn't died and risen from the dead yet. He hasn't died, you know, the expiation, that whole thing, it hasn't happened yet. So what is the good news? I've always wondered that. It's like, it's the good news they're preaching, because as far as I understand the good news, it hasn't happened yet. Maybe it has tied into what you're saying as far as good news is God is with us. Period. The other thing that bothers me about the verse is that Jesus gave authority to those guys to cast out demons and to heal people. It's like, well, that would be cool. And that would be a way to really impact and minister. And I don't know, jealous of that gift or covetous or whatever, or wondering what's going on there and why it doesn't. Well, it does happen now. You know, in fact, there's a book that I'm hoping that we'll read sometime in this group. Lester Sumrall, somebody who was really anointed to do that kind of ministry, but that again could be one of my agendas. Like, maybe the most important thing is just to be with people and to love on them and
Agree.
not have to do anything flashy or cool or, but sometimes it's necessary, so I'm not ready to let go of it. You know, sometimes healing needs to happen in a profound kind of way. And sometimes I guess not.
Yeah, I have this horrible picture of. I'm an American, I'm here to help, what's your problem? Is that prevalent among mission trips?
Oh, yes.
It is?
Mhm.
Well, it really is our culture. I mean, it's where the country, the light on the hill. I mean, that is our culture. Like,
We're
we
supposed
can, yeah, we
go
can
in
fix,
and
we
fix
know
it.
we know what your problem is, you don't have to tell us.
Yeah, you need a swimming pool.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I think I'm hopeful. I mean, I'm hearing a lot more groups are trying not to be that way, so I'm hopeful that it's getting less, but yeah. You know, the whole thing of we're gonna swoop in for a week
Mhm.
and save your whole town. No,
And your soul.
yeah, and your soul, yeah, at the same time.
Well, I agree with that, cause we went to their churches and
Yeah.
going to their, ministry, and it was just, they did it differently than we do it, but they were just, they loved the Lord. And
Oh, yeah.
it was just so accepting. And we were doing vacation Bible school and just helping them out. We weren't trying to change them, I don't think. At least our group wasn't.
I think really one of the, I mean, we did missions for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And I think really one of the big issues is that they don't perceive themselves broken or needing anything.
Yeah.
No,
And so I can imagine, I have family members that may come over to my house and start cleaning my kitchen. And I'm just like, damn you for cleaning my damn kitchen. It's not good. And it's just fine.
It's judgmental for you to like.
Yeah, it's like, how dare you clean I just cleaned my dishes and you're re-cleaning my dishes. Offensive. Cause I don't need your help. I'm happy for you to sit with me in my kitchen and chat. And so really, the majority of the people are looking at, because they're a very hospitable culture, it's a warm culture, most likely you think too. And so these are just fun guests coming in.
yeah, exactly.
Like, this is just interesting, you're interesting people, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like, they don't perceive themselves as having any lack at all. And actually, when people come and try to fix stuff, it regularly is really offensive and they won't tell you. It's very rude to tell the rich white people that this is offensive, and PS, they brought me a bunch of soccer balls. So we'll take your soccer balls and be kind, and if they, I mean, I would tell this to my kids, like, be nice to them, they're gonna give you a bunch of soccer balls. You know, and you know, and it's like, my kids, they had no idea why these people were coming. You know, and it was really interesting because we've been on the inside of a lot of these mission trips and had people come and tell us, they're like, these white people came and cleaned the beach. This is my beach. If it needed to be cleaned, I'll do it. How dare these white people come and say your beach is dirty? This is my home. I just told you my beach is, your home's dirty, and my people just came and cleaned it. And it's extremely offensive, you know, and they were mad for weeks. You know, and then I sat with like the people, like, you know, playing guitars and talking about the amazing service they did for the beach. I'm just like, so it's really interesting being on both sides of that. But I think the biggest thing for me is recognizing that the people don't understand themselves as being in need. We're judging them as being in need or being broken and getting fixed.
So then I try and put it in our cultural context here. Who in our communities are we not with?
Yeah, I mean,
You know, it's kind of like the homeless, or there are so many things out there, and I'm going, what is our role there? Because again, to go in and say, I'm gonna build you a house and then you're not gonna live in it, well, why not? So what is the story? How can I be with you?
Yeah, and I think for me, my experience, then like going back to the US, the only real answer I have is like these things are way, way, way more complex, way slower, and way less quote unquote effective. And it sucks filling out an M&E report for my grant. Because what really you need to do is sit there and be slow and eat lunch with them. And that doesn't look good on anybody's report.
Well, we throw more money at things, but it's from top down, not.
Yeah. I think what I loved on our mission trips were because we were guided by the Guatemalan people that are there every single day. You know, like the one trip when we built 3 homes, they were literally 10 by 10 cinder block homes with a doorway. No plumbing, the kitchen was outside, they cooked outside anyway. They were built for people who truly, truly did need it. There was one of the men at the dedication, and this still makes me cry. his family had been living in a hut made out of dried corn stalks. And when the rains came down the hill, because they farm on the hills, the kids would slide down in the middle of the night in the mud, and the mom had to go get them. And so he was on his knees just praising God for this house that's only 10 by 10. And that was beautiful. But that was the Guatemalan people saying, this family needs a home. And that's who we built for. And so that was really cool because we felt like, okay, this was somebody who really, really needed it. It was amazing.
I think that's what she, those two of them, are highlighting, right, is the difference between partnership and just solo. Here's what I think is a good idea, because we did experience that in a couple of different ways where there were people who, like, even before maybe wanting, to come somewhere that we would ask, like, do you need anything? Is there something that groups can even do? Because that's the first question, right? And sometimes that answer is yes, and sometimes that answer is no, but it's like, and when the answer is yes, and the people who are, I mean, we're not even as equipped as like the local people to say, but that's where you really can come hand in hand, and those people understand what is or isn't offensive. They understand, like, the implications, the on the ground implications of what's happening. And there certainly is need in the world, for sure. And so that, I think that is the flip side of it, is it's like, it's not, there was a book, maybe it's along the lines of the one we're mentioning, Stan, and several years ago, a lot now, called When Helping Hurts.
That's the one we read.
Okay.
Yeah.
And and it's interesting because now that we're more aware of that, it's easy to criticize, right? Like the kind of helps that end up being offensive or whatever. And then I think that the unfortunate reaction to that can be that then we're more inclined to just do nothing, right? That it's like, oh, well, we don't want to offend, we don't want to whatever. And so there is this tension of, like, continuing to try to follow the Lord, to try to ask as many questions as we can, but to not become, to let it not drive us away from doing good, but rather just to have more listening, which is, I think, maybe what they're trying to say. But I think that's a great example, Becca, of like a group who is coming together to do good.
I think that, I was also in therapy. And I remember my therapist telling me, the question you should ask is, what is mine to do? And then to be able to listen, what is mine to, because I can't do it all. Where is my place for doing what I need to do? And that's where listening is not my best skill. It's not my best skill. And I think of prayer in the same way. When I say that to God, what is mine to do is, can I listen?
Let's look at the questions. Page 48 and following. So the first one was, have you ever gone on a mission trip to another country? Yes, we have. Okay, where did you go? What did you do? What baggage did your group bring with you? Did this chapter give you any new insight on that experience? Did the chapter give you any new insight on the experience that you had?
I have to say, I felt proud of us not going in and building a swimming pool.
Yeah, the first few examples were pretty horrendous.
Yeah.
You don't wanna flaunt what you have either.
You don't want to want what you have. Sometimes that's hard to do. Because we have so much.
We think we need it to travel sometimes.
Mhm.
You kind of have to think about what are they gonna be able to take care of once you leave? Because certain things we give require certain kinds of maintenance or whatever. And if they're not capable of doing that, you've just added to their burden.
Yeah, somewhere along the line, I'm not sure if it was in this chapter or not, but. Solar panels were
Oh,
installed.
yeah,
I thought,
that would be a good example.
yeah, that would be nice, but is it practical? For them? How do you question that? The question number 2, though, what baggage do you carry on your walk with Jesus? What would it look like to leave those things behind? So now it's more practical in terms of us here now. What baggage do you carry on your walk with Jesus? What would you like to leave? What would it like to leave those things behind?
It was nice when the kids moved out.
I feel like it's hard to give up my wanting to control some things. Um, especially small things. Like I've never struggled with if there's anything huge that's like I know that there's no possible way I can control it. I have no problem giving that to God. That's like, okay, that's fine. But little things like in day-to-day life and stuff, and it's hard to give that control up.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know. Just had my heart doctor tell me I had to give up driving.
That's hard.
My mom just gave up driving 2 weeks ago on her own. She just was like, that's it, I'm done. That's good. It was a good decision for her.
I was wondering, I didn't see your car out there, so I was wondering.
I would say
Climbing
there's,
on ladders.
Mhm.
Thank you for the person who fixes all the people who fall off the ladders.
Is the majority male?
No. Yes. But not, I think more just because more men end up on ladders. Not necessarily because there's like a deficiency there.
No, yeah. They use more.
I think they're equal opportunity for falling off.
Nicely said.
I think I can have a lot of right wrong baggage. So like, I mean, even in the context of the chapter, which is not what came to mind, but you have it's like maybe I was raised in an environment, I imagine I'm not the only one, but it's not to say that everybody was, where there's a big emphasis on like right, wrong, right, wrong, right, wrong, right? And I don't think that's helpful. Like today, I kind of think a little bit more along the lines of like helpful, unhelpful. I'm not saying that there's not absolute right and wrong in some ways, right? But those things I think are fewer than the ones I grew up with, right? So for example, I'm really little back in that day. It's like, okay, it would be wrong to get a tattoo or wrong to listen to like certain kinds of music or the idea wasn't just like, hey, what is the effect on you? And do you feel like it's leading you in a good way or a less good way or whatever? It's like everything has a line, like everything has a line, how big your house can be, what you should spend your money on, and that just goes on and on and on, right? Like you end up, I feel like even into adulthood, one of the things that was hard about There's a million examples, I wish this wasn't the one coming to mind, but as missionaries, it's like you're on support. So in our background, you're on personal support, right? So it kind of makes people feel like they can have an idea of what you should and shouldn't spend your money on because they contributed to your income, right? But like nobody, even the pastors of their churches that they're essentially contributing to the incomes of, they're not saying what their pastors should and shouldn't do with their money. But anyway, so you just kind of live in this like, everything that you do is under this either first it express itself as me actually internalizing the sense that something that really is actually neutral is somehow turned into right and wrong. Or then that rather than answering to the Lord, it's like if somebody else thinks it's right or wrong, then it's like there's that thing going on. And I feel like that whole for me, that kept me very kept a lid on me being free to live in the Lord, like to follow God's spirit and be like, we're actually, he has set up all of our lives differently and made us differently and put us in different circumstances to express himself in all kinds of contexts, right? And the idea isn't that we're all supposed to be doing the same thing, but that baggage is something that I think keeps, it is baggage that I think can keep the Spirit of God from moving as big and as fluidly as it might otherwise, for me. I don't know if I was able to explain that well, but.
No, it's good.
I think the baggage that I would say is mine is being productive, busy, and it's kind of a badge of honor to say you're doing this and this and this and this, or accomplish this and this and this. And somehow that's even equated to your spirituality. And that Puritan work ethic or whatever you want to call it was very much ingrained in my upbringing. And that your value was based on how much you did. So being still or not cluttering your mind with stuff you're taking care of and your to-do list and all that. I just like, it's hard to turn that off. I agree.
My father also was very much in the Puritan work ethic. You don't eat unless you've done something and accomplished something during the day.
Heard that one too.
There were days that I got no food because he
Wow.
didn't see that I was accomplishing anything.
Wow.
So the next question is, how might your phone, your agenda, your assumptions about what is right be getting in the way of your relationships and your ability to learn from others?
Because you're not listening,
Because you're not listening.
you're doing your thing, and that doesn't allow you to listen very well.
Be distracted and then, I don't know, for me. I listen, but I don't really listen. I hear parts of it. I'm really trying to harder, so I get the gist of what you're saying, but I don't.
That part for your assumptions about what is right, if the judgmentalness
Yeah.
really gets in the way.
You're never really gonna know to what extent that's true. Because if most people won't tell you when you shut them off.
I've heard it said, is it better to be right or be in a relationship?
Better to be in a relationship for sure.
What does that mean?
So if I shut you down because I don't agree with you, then that ends that's kind of an end to a relationship.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm gonna prove I'm right, but will I have any relationship with you when I'm done?
Okay.
We moved from Endicott, Washington, southeastern Washington, near Pullman, way up to Everson, Washington, near Bellingham area. And my youngest son, moved with us during that time. And he could not handle it there. We felt he might even be suicidal. So we allowed him to go back to Endicott or St. John where he lived. And he spent 2.5 years there in school, his completed school. And we drove to every band concert and choir everything. We drove back and forth, because we did not want to leave that relationship void. And that's sort of what he's talking about here. The relationship was more important than us driving back and forth and back and forth. Mhm. Mhm. He was the one who called also during the sermon. Question 4 is how hard for you to accept hospitality from other people, especially when you have no way to reciprocate. What do you think Jesus might say about that?
I remember when Matt was in seminary, there was a group of us that spouses that were doing a Bible study on and book study on the difference between hospitality and entertaining. And how hospitality can just mean, well, I'm just having, grilled cheese and tomato soup, but you're welcome to join us and whatever, that it's not this big show. And we kind of learned that it also equates to not accepting a compliment that somebody might give you. So if somebody says, oh, I love your hair, or whatever, it's like, oh, it's not, whatever. Or I love your new outfit, and oh, whatever. It's just, you're not accepting, you're not accepting their compliment as being valid. Like you're not accepting their opinion. And so that really helped me to figure out, well, if somebody offers hospitality, then yes, you accept it because you're accepting them as well. I don't know. That all helped me.
I think it's harder to accept it when you can reciprocate it than when you can't. Because I think sometimes when I've been given a gift where I just needed a way out, I was super thankful for it. But sometimes you have those life lessons that will follow you forever. And it was such a simple thing, but it was so profound to me. A friend of mine took me out for coffee, and I had a job for a couple of years, got out of grad school, finally feel like you're, self-sufficient. And she paid for my coffee, and I was like, you don't need to do that. Like, I have a job now. And she looked at me and she said, Sarah, do you get joy out of doing things for people? And I said, yes. And she said, well, then don't take my joy away from me. It's like, oh, okay. But growing up in the Midwest, like, you are not supposed to be indebted to anyone. You are not supposed to have a need for anyone. Like, there's a pride piece to that. And it goes to even like, I have a terrible time taking compliments because it was looked at as being, I don't even know, like, prideful to take it, even though really it's actually prideful to not take it. But it's really hard when that like cultural and family way of functioning is like so ingrained in your DNA that it's really hard to let it go. It's also made me then think, because I also like to give, right? That's a cultural thing for us, is that it's something, and I have to remember that sometimes, even though I would want to give something to someone, that it might not mean as much to them to receive it as it would for me to give it. And so sometimes that means like dial it back and not give at that time. And so I've just had a lot of processing around that, because as someone who grew up in that cultural tradition, it's I don't know. It's hard to just kind of sit and take when you don't need to, right?
That's fun.
It took age for me to get to that place. The longer I've lived, the easier it is to accept people's kindness and hospitableness, being hospitable. And I'm thankful for that. I'm glad I'm getting there.
I just had a experience of this. It does take age sometimes for us to be more accepting. So my dad had died this last fall and we had a service with a lot of family coming into the area. Some of them I didn't know very well. And, I have the biggest house, so I'm the one who does hospitality. And I've usually done it all myself. Well, I didn't even know how many people were gonna be there, and my friend who lives in Tacoma said, can I come help you? I would have never said yes before. And I came, as she came the day before, we cooked, we had food for 41 people. And, I was able to spend that time with my family instead of doing all the serving. And she was thrilled to have done that for me. She's the entertainer. I'm the hospitality thing. And now I have relationships with two cousins that I have not had. And one of them I met for the first time. So it's like I had the richest experience by saying, yes, I need help. I need help. And you know, it's taken me this long to get to the place where I say I need help. And I can accept it.
I have lots of stories that go with everything that's being said. And like Sarah, this particular moment, I'm just like holding back my stories because it doesn't necessarily need to be said, but what does need to be said, at least from my heart, is he who has begun a good work in you will bring it to completion. And so what I see weaving throughout the whole conversation is that there's somebody who truly loves us who's at work, like, I'm gonna teach you how to be quiet. I'm gonna teach you how to be grateful. I'm gonna teach you how to be truly loving and giving. You know, it's like, that was cool.
Thank you for that. Yeah. So the last question, where do you sense Jesus may be sending you? What is he sending you to do? And what might you need to let go of in order to fulfill that mission? I think one of the places he's sending me to do is to talk to our neighbor, Michael, about Christ. What do I need for that mission? Probably a bravery that I don't have.
It's called guts.
Because I don't think he would ever say he's a Christian. I don't know what he would say.
All you can do is ask.
Yeah. But I'd have to ask.
Yeah, but the time should come, you know, the right situation. You know?
Well, and some of those things we do with somebody else who we trust.
Yeah, Nancy.
Here goes the bread.
It's garlic.
No. You get to come with me to Michael's.
No, this is your wish.
Sometimes you have to go outside the household to find the right person.
Yeah.
Well, this was interesting. I'm sorry to say I haven't read it, but to listen, thank you all. And I took away from this that they used Jesus talking to his apostles to go out in the world and minister to people. But I can't help but bring that to me and think, well, this works right here in my own community. This works in my own country, my own world. And it was a good way to start thinking about that.
Good. Anyone else have a sense of where God might be calling you?
I've been preparing to go to prison for a while.
I really see my work in the school as a calling. There's a lot of students that I work with that just need love and acceptance. Some of them are really hard, but I just do it because that's what I'm called to do. Take a lot of deep breaths sometimes.
Yeah, their home lives aren't ideal
Yeah.
at all.
No.
I did that.
Shall we pray, or are you guys leaving?
We're leaving. We'll be with you in prayer on our way out.
Let's pray. Somebody else want to pray? Okay.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for your presence here today. We thank you for how you can bring the best out in each of us. Doesn't always start there, but you do provoke thought. You do prompt our conscience. You do walk beside us. And as we walk and we talk, we grow closer to you. And for that, we are thankful. Let us experience that every day and share it with those we love. Amen.
She prayed for Artist as she goes to France tomorrow.
That sounds
Je suis si jalouse.